Primary election day across the state of Pennsylvania, and in counties all across this Commonwealth, we're seeing a very similar scene that's unfolding, and that is precinct by precinct, people have voted throughout the day, and the polls just closed about a half an hour ago, and we are kind of at the nerve center of election center right here in Mifflin County, in downtown Lewistown, and I'm joined by the brand new Executive Director of the Elections Office, Zane Swanger. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Double welcome, because this is day what on the job?
Day 2 on the job.
All right, good time to get going. Now, you told me you're originally from this area, is that correct?
That is correct. I grew up in Yeagertown. My parents then moved to Lewistown. I went off to school for a little bit, came back, and I'm still a resident here. I live out in Ormall Township now.
So I'm wondering, which high school did you go to?
Sure, so I was the last graduating class of Lewistown Panthers.
Okay, so we're dating exactly where you are. Things have changed, obviously, a bit. Now, you went from here to where for college?
Sure, so I went to Mansfield University, graduated there 2015, and studied in political science.
Excellent. Boy, that sounds like a great course of studies for what you're doing here. Now, let's talk a little bit. Actually, before we get there, we were chatting before we went on the air, and I just asked you, why are you involved with the kind of work that you're starting here today?
Sure. So I always saw public service and people that worked in public service to be very noble individuals in our community. And I knew that, as a younger generation, seeing things growing up, maybe that I didn't necessarily agree with or want for my hometown. So a lot of my degree was going to be focused on how could I go to college, get my degree, and then come back to my hometown and really, truly make a difference for my generation and future generations of the county.
Wow. So there must have been something good in your hometown that made you say, I want to go back to there and see what I can do to make a difference.
Sure. We have a lot of potential here at central Pennsylvania. I mean, it's a beautiful area. We're right between Harrisburg and State College, so it's just a great place, I think, for a lot of economical growth. And bringing jobs back to the county and whatnot. And I just see a huge development here in the near future for Mifflin County.
Excellent. You represent a younger generation that's ready to dig in and continue the heritage in Mifflin County. So you are Zane Swanger. You are the new Executive Director or the Director of Elections and Voter Registration here in Mifflin County. Let's talk a little bit about voting, okay? And one of the things that people wonder about is, first of all, can I just show up anywhere and vote?
Well, no. I mean, it's definitely a process that, we have to have you registered by either coming into the courthouse, or you can go online to register. Also, you can do so at some various state entities, like at the DMV. You can get signed up there. They can get your paperwork started there. So we definitely have to have you in the precinct that you live in, and we judge that all based off your address.
So who's eligible to vote?
Sure. So anyone 18, 18 is the starting age. You just come in and vote. You come in and get signed up so we can get you registered to vote, and it's any U.S. citizen.
When I encourage people to get out and vote, and I believe that especially the local, municipal, countywide elections are really important, because this is where we live. And this is where we work. And if you don't vote, then I don't think you can really complain. Well, I don't know. You need to be involved in the process. But people wonder, they get a little intimidated, and they say, well, I don't know all of the races that are going on or all the candidates. So, isn't it true that if, there's some of those things in the ballot you don't vote for, that the whole ballot gets thrown out?
Right. So, that's definitely, not correct. On the ballot, if you're looking at some various people on there that you're not familiar with, or maybe you don't like any of the candidates, you can always leave that blank. It's not that you have to fill something out, or sometimes it might say fill in up to 4, and you could pick 2, but you could pick up to 4, but you can't pick any more than 4. Or you could leave it blank. That's completely up to you. And, you express that this is definitely important for our local communities, because, the local government, that's as close as we get to the government. So, these are very important positions and very important people that are getting into these positions. So it definitely is important. And today we're doing the primary so that we can get the good ballot for the actual election coming up. But, this is still very important to come out.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there are people who will or will not make it on to the general election in the fall. So really, participation is important. And I like to say, you know, if people didn't vote today for whatever reason, we want to encourage them to be sure to vote in the November election.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you weren't able to make it out today, today was very important because, like you said, this does get those lists, makes those lists shorter, you know, of who's actually going to be on the final ballots. But coming out to the actual election is going to be very important because that's really the breaking point there of who's going to be going into those positions. So you definitely need to, voice your concerns, get out there and practice your right to vote for these officials that are going to be dictating your communities. So it's definitely very important.
Zane, I have one more question. I know you're busy and you're going to get even busier as the ballots come in, but it is about 8:34. What's happening right now out there in the precincts?
Sure. So right now, all of the precincts are tallying up all their votes. Everything is done there as far as even the absentee ballots. They're going to be counting all those there. They're going to be bringing us all the equipment back, so your voting machines and everything. They're bringing them back here, and then we're actually going through and we're checking all the logs that they did throughout the day, and we're actually counting all the votes that came in. So it's going to be a fun process, definitely.
So I guess we're going to start here in about the next half hour or so, at least starting to see the early precincts showing up.
Yeah, they should be rolling in anytime. I mean, turnout today was it was steady, but it was rather low. So we're expecting that they're going to be turned in really quickly, and I'm sure whenever I head back there, I'll probably see some already rolling in from maybe some of the closer districts here in Lewistown.
Zane Swanger is the new director of voter registration and elections here in Mifflin County. Zane, very much we appreciate you being involved, your heart for what's going on, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Well, we're going to take it down to Mifflin Town. Chris Kramer is standing by, and he's going to give us the latest of what's happening in Juniata County. Chris?